from Johnny Bones Jones.
And Jones is trying to finish this fight.
Big right hand there. Stipe Miocic looking for the quick finish, and he's got it. Stipe Miocic.
And it is all over. Jon Jones is the youngest champion.
Stipe Miocic retains his UFC heavyweight title.
The greatest UFC light heavyweight champion, Jon Jones, and the best fighter in the UFC's heavyweight division, Stipe Miocic, fight fans eagerly anticipated a clash that had the potential to be legendary. The question loomed large. Could this impending showdown truly deliver on its promise of intense competition? Jon Jones, known for his skill, agility, and fighting expertise, was set to go head-to-head with Stipe Miocic, who had his sights set on the coveted UFC heavyweight title. When examining the matchup, one couldn't help but consider the disparities in size, experience, fighting styles, and individual strengths between these two incredible athletes. The tantalizing prospect of Miocic's formidable boxing skills and raw power, facing off against Jon Jones' unmatched versatility as an athlete and strategic fighting prowess, had fight enthusiasts debating endlessly. Would Stipe's strength and boxing prowess prove to be too much for Jones to handle, or would Jon's tactical brilliance be the deciding factor in this historic encounter? All signs pointed to a clash that could potentially go down in history as one of the most significant heavyweight fights in the annals of the UFC. The overture to this clash. On March 19, 2011, Jon Jones secured the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship by dismantling the revered Pride FC legend Mauricio Rua. Following a closely contested battle with Alexander Gustafsson, Bones shattered the record for consecutive title defenses. Prior to this, he had dominated MMA icons like Rampage Jackson, Lyoto Machida, Rashad Evans, Vitor Belfort, and of course, the undefeated and undisputed gangster from Oregon, Chael Sonnen. At that time, the most formidable threat to Jones's reign was his rivalry with Daniel Cormier. Disregarding a subsequent failed drug test, Jones convincingly triumphed over the Olympic wrestler in 2 encounters. After claiming the vacant light heavyweight title against Gustafsson and successfully defending it 3 times, Jones set his sights on a loftier goal, making the move to heavyweight in pursuit of greatness. 3 years of weight gain and meticulous preparation culminating in Jon's resounding victory over Cyril Gane on March 4, 2023, earning him the status of a 2-division UFC champion. However, to stake a claim as the premier heavyweight on the planet, one must conquer the greatest UFC champion of all time, Stipe Miocic. Recognizing this, Jones wasted no time in challenging the Ohio native. Conversely, Stipe has been a natural heavyweight from the start, clinching the UFC heavyweight belt on May 14, 2016 with a swift victory over Verdum. He went on to dominate Alistair Overeem and Junior Dos Santos, and then showcased his prowess in a unanimous decision against Francis Ngannou, setting a record for consecutive UFC title defenses. Though Daniel Cormier interrupted his streak with a knockout, Stipe rose from the dead with 2 wins against Cormier before Francis Ngannou gave him a one-way ticket to the Dead Sea. Having not fought for 2 years, Stipe Miocic was gearing up to face an opponent unlike any before him. The looming question that remained was, who would have emerged as the victor in this monumental showdown? It's intriguing to note that both fighters stand tall at an identical 6 feet 4 inches. However, when we consider reach, Jon Jones takes the lead with the longest arms, measuring an impressive 84.5 inches. A measurement matched only by Stefan Struve in the UFC. Speaking of Stefan Struve, some of you might remember him as the man who handed Stipe Miocic his first defeat. Stipe struggled against an opponent with a significant reach advantage, but let's be clear, Struve's skills don't quite stack up to Jon Jones. Yet there's a bit of a controversy surrounding Struve's victory over Stipe. It's worth mentioning that Struve resorted to an eye poke before the finishing sequence. Interestingly, Jon Jones has a bit of a reputation when it comes to eye poking as well, so it's entirely possible that he might employ the same tactic as Struve and Cormier to disrupt Stipe's game plan. Now let's revisit the battles against Daniel Cormier, who played a significant role in the careers of both Stipe Miocic and Jon Jones. In Stipe's initial encounter with Cormier, his head bounced off the canvas like a pinball machine. Although he managed to secure a victory in their rematch via TKO, there's no denying that he was arguably losing the fight up to that point. Cormier's wrestling prowess was on full display, showcasing the beauty of Olympic wrestling. However, the story takes a different turn when we look at Jon Jones' encounters with Cormier. Not only did Jones dominate Cormier twice, but he also managed to out-wrestle him, which was supposedly Cormier's strong suit. If Jon Jones can out-wrestle Cormier, the same fighter who ragdolled Stipe Miocic in their rematch, then there's a strong case to be made that Jones might replicate the same strategy against Stipe. Of course, there might be some who argue that Miocic is a formidable wrestler himself. However, it's important to dive deeper into this aspect. Stipe has certainly showcased his wrestling superiority, but primarily against opponents who are considered low-level grapplers, such as Mark Hunt and Francis Ngannou. In contrast to Dagestani wrestlers, Stipe's wrestling style could be described as opportunistic. He tends to wait for the perfect moment to shoot for a takedown. When faced with elite grapplers like Daniel Cormier, Stipe struggles to execute takedowns and mostly relies on his wrestling skills for defensive purposes, primarily to keep the fight standing. This is reflected in his statistics, with a mere 34% offensive wrestling accuracy. Stipe's attempt to use wrestling against Jon Jones, who boasts an impressive 95% takedown defense, could be likened to trying to climb Mount Everest in flip-flops. On the flip side, Jon Jones is known for being a creative and versatile wrestler. He can take the fight to the ground from various positions, employing classic double or single leg takedowns. Moreover, he possesses crafty throws and swipes that make him a formidable force in the wrestling department. If Stipe intends to rely on wrestling as a winning strategy, he may find himself in a difficult situation, as Jon is well equipped to handle such situations. In fact, Jon has even posted a picture of himself training with Gordon Ryan, widely regarded as the greatest grappler of all time. This could be a strong indicator that Jon intends to leverage his wrestling skills against Stipe Miocic. Now let's pivot to the aspect of fighting IQ, which is where both fighters shine. Despite Stipe losing the exchanges in his second encounter against Cormier, he displayed remarkable mid-fight adjustments by implementing body shots to neutralize Cormier before ultimately subduing him. It is a testament to his fighting IQ. However, when it comes to sheer fight IQ, nobody comes close to Jon Jones in the sport of mixed martial arts. Jon Jones is arguably the most technical and diverse fighter the UFC has ever seen. His brilliance extends to every facet of the sport, and he constantly adds new tricks to his repertoire. With layers of different game plans, Jon consistently emerges victorious, no matter how the fight unfolds. One of the most recognizable aspects of Jon's approach is his adaptability. If his initial game plan doesn't yield the desired results, it doesn't faze him in the least. He simply reaches into his pocket for another strategy, akin to the way Frieza in Dragon Ball Z continually unveiled new, more formidable forms. Jon's ability to adjust and evolve during a fight is just one of his defining qualities. But of course, the power factor cannot be overlooked. Stipe Miocic undoubtedly possesses more power in his hands, and his fundamental boxing skills are superior to Jon's overall. However, it remains to be seen whether Stipe's boxing prowess will play a significant role in this fight. One potential obstacle is that Stipe's striking style is somewhat predictable. For instance, Stipe directs a significant 74% of his strikes towards the head. On the other hand, Jon Jones boasts a formidable defense, absorbing an average of just 2.2 significant strikes per minute. Considering Jon's reach advantage, Stipe will need to close the gap and engage in a sort of chess match in close range against Jones. However, the question remains, will Jon Jones allow Stipe to fight on his terms? Stipe's fighting style often involves being flat-footed and leaning heavily on the back foot. He's not known for his dynamic movement, and when he attempts to close the distance against Jon, he could run into some significant roadblocks. Jon Jones can employ oblique and side kicks to the head, effectively preventing Stipe from getting in close range. And of course, Jon Jones has a bit of a reputation for using eye pokes as a second option, adding an element of unpredictability to his game. On the other hand, Jon Jones possesses an array of tools to secure victory in this fight. He can out-wrestle Stipe, taking the fight to the ground and unleashing heavy ground and pound. If that doesn't work, he's perfectly capable of delivering significant damage during stand-up exchanges. A point worth noting is that Daniel Cormier, a noted wrestler, managed to take Stipe down with ease. Jon Jones, with his wrestling acumen, is more than capable of replicating such takedowns. Furthermore, Jon can use his reach advantage to maintain distance and dictate the pace. He can employ kicks to his legs and body, precise punches, and strategic elbows, attacking from various angles without providing Stipe with any hints about the source of the next attack. Perhaps the most potent weapon in Jon Jones' arsenal is his mind. His unparalleled fighting IQ allows him to mix and utilize all his weapons based on how the fight unfolds. While he may not possess the one-punch knockout power of someone like Francis Ngannou, Jon's ability to accumulate damage over time can lead to a TKO or, if not, a one-sided unanimous decision victory. To secure a victory in this matchup, Stipe Miocic will need to employ a smart and strategic approach. It's all about outsmarting the guy widely considered to have the highest IQ in the sport. Here's a friendly breakdown of how he might do it. First, Stipe could take a page from Daniel Cormier's book. In their second fight against Jon Jones, Cormier's approach was to move forward and walk Jon down. This kind of strategy could prove effective for Stipe. It means maintaining constant pressure, keeping a strong defense, and staying in Jon's face. By doing this, Stipe could compel Jon to throw more attacks, possibly causing him to miss and leaving himself vulnerable to Stipe's knockout power. Now, when it comes to Jon Jones, he has a reputation for wanting to beat his opponents at their own games. We saw it when he faced Daniel Cormier by wrestling, and also in his bout against Thiago Santos when he tried to outstrike him. Interestingly, that almost led to a loss for Jones. However, if Jon attempts to engage in a pure boxing match against Stipe, it could potentially jeopardize his title. But let's give Jon some credit. He's known for his intelligence inside the octagon. He's likely to approach the fight in a way that plays to his strengths rather than getting caught up in Stipe's game. So, Stipe's path to victory involves strategic pressure and seizing opportunities, while Jon's success will depend on playing to his own strengths and not falling into the trap of fighting on Stipe's terms. In the end, this dynamic clash of strategies and skills is what makes MMA so thrilling to watch. And what do you guys think? Share your thoughts in the comments, smash the like button, and subscribe to help us reach 1,000 subscribers and keep the excitement going in the octagon.